Good morning, everybody. This is Grant from State of the Spark, and I am super pumped you're here. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about the worst cringe story I ever had of getting fired and how I was acting completely disintegrated. But we're going to use that story to talk a little bit about how to attract what you want, really. How does law of attraction, how does it really work and when does it break down? And of course, before that, we're going to be covering other news that makes you smarter, that elevates your mind outside of the muck and mire that they want you thinking about. We're going to elevate you there. But before any of that, you know what we're going to do. We're going to be talking about morning cup of gratitude. What are you grateful for this morning? What's keeping you inspired? What's keeping you pumped? What gets you out of bed today? If you cannot start this day, this week, with an inspiring thought of what you are grateful for, did you even have a weekend? Do you even have anything to work towards or something to look forward to? We're going to be talking about morning cup of gratitude, and you know I'm going to start. Let's talk about it. Mm, 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 mm. I'm absolutely grateful for even more patron members this weekend. We had more patron members, people who are understanding that we're not just talking about crypto. We're talking about financial freedom, living a life of freedom, living a elevated spirit of freedom so that you can actually ignite your own life of explosive significance and make the impact you were supposed to make in the world with more vision, more success, more significance, more purpose. That's the Spark way. We got more patron members this weekend. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for a truly restful and recharging weekend with my lovely wife. We had a great time this weekend. Also, I'm super grateful that I was able to actually nearly finish a painting of mine. I love painting. For those who don't know, I love doing that art. It helps my mind recharge. I got some writing done. I got some reading done. We got some master planning done. So I'm grateful for all of that. What are you grateful for? What has you absolutely pumped about your own life today? I'd love to hear in the comments so I can celebrate with you. So go ahead and share with me. What are you absolutely grateful for? Let's talk about other news. Mm, 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 mm. In other news, and by other, I mean news other than what all the mainstream media wants you to think about. This is news that's supposed to educate you, elevate you, empower you, encourage you just a little bit. In this morning's piece of other news, you can search, explore, and download up to 200,000 different ancient Japanese woodblock paintings. Now, this woodblock art you would recognize if you saw it right away. This woodblock art, basically in Japanese culture, they started pre-17th century, but around the 17th century, Japanese woodblock art started to really take off as a massive medium, and I love this style of art. It influences me. The Japanese enso is this circle that you see on my tattoo and a lot of my art. I have an ongoing compilation of artwork where I am exploring the enso in different topics. This comes from some Japanese art style, but this is different than Japanese woodblock painting. Now, Japanese woodblock painting is basically art carved into a woodblock, impressed with ink, and then hand painted meticulously for detail. It peaked around the 19th century, but it is still used today. Now, I'm gonna butcher this, but it is called ukiu-e. Ukiu-e. I'm probably butchering this entirely. Ukiu-e. It's the style is Japanese for the Japanese woodblock painting. Now, you might recognize this artwork right away if you saw the woodblock painting called In the Well of the Great Wave of Kanagawa. It's been my the backdrop on my laptop for quite some time. It's this massive kind of almost cartoonish wave, and there's a little boat in the swell or the well of the wave. It's a very famous Japanese woodblock piece. Maybe you've seen it. But the museum for this artwork has made. I'm going to put this link in the comments. Has made up to 200,000 of these available for you to search, peruse, download, get inspired. It is very comical in some areas. It's very sexual in other areas. But no matter what it is, it's insightful into Japanese culture, and it's a beautiful series of art. I really recommend you check it out. Now, in another piece of art in the form of engineering, let's talk about it. Still flying on Mars. The Ingenuity helicopter is still, as they say, good as new. And I'm reporting this because It's pretty impressive what the Ingenuity helicopter's been able to do. You see, it was originally planned for 5 flights over a 1 month period. And that was their highest hope for it. And after that, they were just going to let it be other debris on Mars. Eventually, when we get to Mars, we'll clean up all of our debris. But the Ingenuity helicopter was planned for 5 flights over a month. It has now gone 21 flights, and it has been flying for nearly a year. Now, its main purpose was to scout for the Perseverance rover. So it arrived with the Perseverance rover, it rolled out, and then it was going to fly. And basically, it was going to give a bird's eye view to pilots back here at NASA, back here at Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and let them see the landscape and guide the Perseverance rover to areas of interest while helping it avoid places that the rover probably had no business going. And it has done this. This art of engineering this helicopter, it's small, it's like just about a 1.5 kilograms in weight. This helicopter's been able to avoid and shave off weeks of travel time for the Perseverance rover. And if you want to see more about what the Ingenuity helicopter has been up to, bam, it has been living up to its artistic potential. Now, let me tell you something that I wasn't at the time living up to my potential. We're going to talk just briefly today about attracting what you want. My worst cringe story of being fired at a job in my early 20s, and how that is a watch story, a warning, if you will, a parable for how you can avoid not actually acting in an integrated way, trying to get something you want, but needing to manifest it first. So we're going to talk about how to attract what you want by becoming who you want to be first. Let's talk about it. It was the hot summer of 2001. I think it was about 2001. You see, someone had handed me the book Think and Grow Rich. And this was roughly my first year having processed the book Think and Grow Rich. And as we know, Think and Grow Rich is all about how to put your mind to work. It's about how to put your thinking to work and how to develop yourself and develop your mind to a point where you were attracting, basically drawing to you or manifesting or working for the things you want out of life. So, of course, as a young kid, I just read that this is all about making money and it's all about putting on a front. So I'd lost my job after 2001 when the Twin Towers came down. The airline industry was in the dumps, and I had lost my job working at Piper Aircraft. So I went out looking for a job. Now, as a kid, I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't come from a lot of money. I was working jobs here and there, and I had lost some work. I believe my dad was a traveling nurse. And I was basically taking care of my life and my expenses. So I had to find work. It was pretty important. And I come from a small town in Florida, Vero Beach, and I didn't have a big paradigm. I didn't have a lot of self-worth. I was arrogant. I believed I was going to be a star, but I was really trying to find myself. But I didn't have a strong sense of who I was. Well, I was reading Think and Grow Rich, and it was hot. It was hot that summer. And I realized you got to dress for success. So I went out looking for a job, and I heard about a job at Vero Beach Magazine. Now, the thing about Vero Beach Magazine, it was a luxury magazine, and Grant's wardrobe was not luxury. Grant's wardrobe was a wardrobe of a surfer kid who maybe had one decent collared shirt to his name. And I didn't have a lot of money. I couldn't dress for success. But I was reading Think and Grow Rich. I've got it on the shelf right here. I was reading Think and Grow Rich, and I was going through this book and thinking, okay, well, I got to dress for success. And I wasn't really integrated. I hadn't done a lot of research on dressing well, but I knew I wanted to get this job at a luxury magazine. I was going to level myself up, and I wanted this job really bad. It paid really good for the time. And I had worked on computers, and they needed a graphic designer. And though I didn't really know graphics, I didn't really know the work, but I could sell the work, and I could tell people that I wanted the job. I was really good at interviews, really good at selling myself, but I wasn't integrated. I didn't have the wardrobe. I couldn't afford the wardrobe. I didn't actually have the skills of design. I knew how to drag a mask around. I knew how to install Adobe, whatever the layout software it was at the time. I knew how to navigate some of the software, but I wasn't a designer. I wasn't high-end. I wasn't luxury myself. So I made a few phone calls. I got the appointment. And I put on the best outfit I could in the middle of Florida summer. The best outfit I could muster was my only collared shirt. And I did hear that luxury people liked to layer. And so I put on a sweater thinking this is the fanciest I know how to dress. Remember, my normal pair of shoes was a pair of flip-flops. My normal outfit was board shorts and a t-shirt. And I had work jobs around that. I had put on slacks to work at Pier 1. But it was often a t-shirt I was wearing because I was working in the warehouse. And I very rarely wore closed-toed shoes, and they didn't match my outfit. You can imagine what a mess this was. But I put on my best foot forward, and I actually got the job. And I was at the job for about a week and 2 weeks, and I would show up at Vero Beach Magazine, and I would do their layouts, and I was really laying this out. And we were working up. They did one magazine a month. And a few weeks into the job, I was getting weird vibes from everybody. Well, what was going on was this. I was wearing the same exact outfit. And by same exact, I mean, I wear the same shirt every day with Spark, but I actually have like 8 of these shirts. I changed my underwear. I changed my socks. I changed my shoes out. I actually wear fresh clothes every single day, though I have like a standardized wardrobe now. But back then, this was the only outfit I had. And in the hot Florida summer, I would wear this sweater day in and day out. And as you can imagine, I smelled mildewy. I was not actually integrated in being luxury. And I would show up to this luxury brand, which was on the beach. And I was a landside liver, not a beach liver. And in Vero Beach, this was a big deal at the time. If you didn't come from money and live on the beach, chances are you were a person who lived on the land side across the river, basically. And so I had to drive over, but it would just get so hot, and I would sweat in this outfit. But it was the most luxury I could afford. So this got awkward. And I didn't know why it got awkward. They kept keeping me at a distance, and they stopped inviting me to the team meetings. And this had just been a few weeks into my time on this job, until one day on a Thursday, I showed up to work, and there was nobody at work. I knocked on the door. There was nobody there. I was waiting and waiting. And I didn't know. And I thought, well, maybe they took the day off and didn't tell me. Ugh. They so did not want to confront me that they had actually decided to not come in. And when I called my boss several times, left a voicemail, no one answered, called, left a voicemail, no one answered. A few minutes later, I decided, I guess I'm going to go home for the day, and still not knowing I was being fired. I drove home, and I got a voice message, and I opened up the voicemail, and they fired me over voice message. It was so awkward to talk to me at the time, and I was so disintegrated. They couldn't even face me and let me go. Now, mind you, it wasn't just how I smelled. It wasn't just how I dressed. I was actually not even delivering extraordinary work. I wasn't even hitting my deadlines. I was disintegrated. You see, I wanted to level up my life, but I had not practiced on the software. I had not put the wardrobe together. Now, I give props to anyone willing to step up to the plate, anyone willing to give your best foot forward like that. I'm not going to knock you, but today's show is about actually getting what you want in the realm of law of attraction. Some of you are trying to get fit. Some of you are trying to be authors. Some of you are trying to build a business. And if you don't know what you don't know, that's fine. But I'm here to tell you that getting your head in alignment is actually one of the most important things you could do to attract. A lot of people hear about attraction, especially single people. They're hearing about attraction, thinking about money, but also thinking about love. But a lot of you are thinking about attracting the right clients, attracting the right support you need to become a writer, attracting the right help you need to get your fitness in a line, but you're hitting a lot of boundaries. So you're thinking law of attraction is just, let me just meditate on it. And that's a great start, to meditate on it. But I'm here to help you out, sort this thinking out a little bit, because law of attraction is not this magic that just happens with magnetic energy in the universe. Law of attraction comes from a certain mechanical way. Now, there's several really good books on this. We'll talk about it later. Obviously, I refer to Think and Grow Rich quite a bit. Maxwell Maltz Cybernetics is also very helpful. But it's simply this, and you could dip off and go to work on this one summary point, and then I've got basically a quick framework for you on how to kind of crawl towards the life you want to live. And it's this. Here's the one summary point that I want to drop into you. And it's this: focus on being what you want to become. Then you will attract the other forces in your life. You hear about this be, do, have, and a lot of people want to have the things. In my case, I wanted to have this job. And that's cool. It was my want, and I went for it. And props to me, high five to me. And I learned the hard way that you can't, once you have it, can you keep it? You want $1 million, great. I'll give you $1 million, but can you keep it? What happens if you get what you want and then you lose it? In fact, quite often people do get what they want. People get six-pack abs and then they lose them. People write a book. I've written books. This is like my 8th book. I've written books. But can I keep the profit? Can the money keep flowing towards me? Can I keep the hype alive and keep selling it? A lot of you can get what you want, but very few of you can keep it. Be, do, have. A lot of you want to have the thing. Only then will you do the thing, and only then will you be the thing. But that's the wrong formula. The right formula is be, do, have. Now, real quick, the best way to understand law of attraction, quite often people are like, okay, I'm going to write my goal down and it's just going to happen for me. I'm going to write my goal down. It's just going to become in my life. And it's now we write the goal down to shape who we are. We write the goal down to reinforce a personhood. But eventually you have to start really dredging the hard work to be the person you want to be. Then you will do what that person does. Then you will have it. To correlate this to this job at Lakeland Magazine or at Vero Beach Magazine, if I was actually going to be that person, I would have been practicing on the software at home. I would have probably bought another outfit or washed my one outfit more frequently. I probably would have listened in more and spoken less. I probably would have been focused on being this person. Then I would have done what this person does, practice on the software, actually know what I was doing, actually be able to contribute. And then I would have the reward sustaining this job. So a quick metaphor for this, 2 quick metaphors. Number 1, sales. In sales, quite often people, especially if you have a small business, you want to get more sales. Or if you're selling books, you want to get more sales. And so you think, well, how do I just go out and get sales? And a lot of managers will measure their employees based on the actual closed sales. And this is a mistake for a lot of reasons because very few people can actually control sales. What can they control? Well, they can control picking up the phone. They can control, for books, setting up a sales funnel and putting out an ad. They can control that. So in sales, we call this the difference between leading actions and lagging actions. And so this language helps us understand in terms of getting what you want versus getting what you are. The quote is this: you don't attract that which you want, you attract that which you are. Another way to say this is be, do, have, instead of have, do, be. Getting what you want and instead getting what you are. You don't get what you want, you only get what you are. So sales, leading actions versus lagging actions. And the other metaphor is just seed versus fruit. Quite often, people want fruit. They want an outcome. They want a result. In my case, it was this magazine job that was paying really well at the time. At the time, early 2000s, it was paying like $14 an hour. That's huge back in 2001. We want this fruit. We want the 6-pack abs. We want this best-selling book. We want to be dating that person. We want our business to be successful. A lot of this is all fruit. So a lot of people focus on the fruit. What am I going to do with the fruit? I don't know. How do I just generate fruit? How do I just generate sales? How do I just generate my book being sold? How do I just generate a book being done? Instead of focusing on the seed, the plant, the weeding, the watering, the metaphor of seed versus fruit, the metaphor of sales, leading actions, picking up the phone versus lagging actions, getting the sale. If you want to be a writer and you want to attract the help you need, a good writing manager, a good editor, a good distributor, if you want to write and have best-selling books, they will see you're a writer because you write. When you do the writing and when you produce the book, people will start to acknowledge that and get drawn towards the fact, oh, okay, now other people will get repelled by that. Grant's too busy. He's always writing. Well, it'll repel people. And if you know that you can repel people by actions, the law of attraction starts to make sense because the inverse is also true. You can begin to attract people because of your actions. They will see that you're a writer not because you suddenly wake up as a bestseller, but because you day in and day out write. People will acknowledge me as a painter, as a speaker, as a trainer, not because I share the stage with Tony Robbins. That's going to happen, but eventually, that's not why people acknowledge that Grant's a trainer. He's a web designer. He's an artist. He's a business guy. He's a business coach. Not because of the big accolades, but because day in and day out, I get on the show. Day in and day out, I'm coaching people. Day in and day out, I'm writing my books. Day in and day out, I'm painting. You'll get into shape and people will be drawn to you. If you want a hot spouse, a hot partner, but you're not so hot yourself, you don't have to have six-pack abs. You have to show up at the gym every single week. You have to eat right at every single meal. And if you're around foodie friends who like to eat whatever they want, you'll begin to repel them. And you'll begin to attract the people who eat right, the people who work out right. It's in the daily doing. So here's my quick framework for you to remember, and you can take this into your week and adjust your week around who you want to become. And not only just imagining it, visualization is important. Not just writing it on your daily goal card, that's important. But you don't do that to necessarily have magic money bags fall out the sky, have magic abs suddenly appear on your body, have magic books suddenly appear finished and it says by you. And you're like, when did I write that? I don't know. We're not writing these things down and visualizing and getting into law of attraction so that they produce themselves without the work. We do that to program ourselves to think the way that person is thinking. Here's a quick framework for you on actually keeping this in order, and it's crawl, because you got to crawl before you run. A lot of you guys, especially the coaches and trainers I know, you want to share the stage, you want to do a TEDx talk, you want to share the stage with your favorite speakers and trainers and go to all the expos and do that. That's great. You got to crawl before you run. And here is the framework. Number one, C for crawl. You got to clarify the results you want in your life, obviously. What is the fruit you want? What are the lagging actions in sales? I want 100 sales this year. Or if you're going to be a coach, I want 5 coaching clients paying me $1,000 a month. Great. Well, you got to clarify the results you want. C. And R for research. You got to research what causes those things to happen. In sales, it's picking up the phone. In selling books or products like this, it's creating a sales funnel, actually getting posts out there so that people even know the thing exists. When it comes to this job at Vero Beach Magazine, it was researching the software necessary and the way they spoke and the way they dressed. If you want to get into a certain niche, it's researching what that niche talks about and what they do. Crawl, you got to clarify, C for clarify, R for research. You got to research what causes those things to occur. And mind you, you're creating the relationship of lagging actions. I got to clarify the results I want, the results, lagging actions versus leading actions. I got to research the things that actually need to occur. Now, the A in crawl is always do those things. When you wake up in the morning, and if you want to be all about that fitness life, if you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my God, it's 3 a.m., I'm not going to go out and run this morning. Grant woke up at 3 this morning, 3:15, and I did not want to go to the gym, but I asked myself a question. Do I attract what I want, or do I attract what I am? I don't attract what I want. I attract what I am. And therefore, I am a person who gets up and goes for a run at 3:15 in the morning. And I'll go for my second workout this afternoon. What am I? So C, clarify the results you want. R, research the leading actions it takes to obtain it. A, always do those things. W, when in doubt, if you are doubting the right things, return to simple physics. If I do X, Y will occur. If I do A, B will happen. If I want to be fit, I've got to work out. If I want to be a best-selling author, I've got to write a book. You already know what to do. You don't need to read another book necessarily on how to do it. You literally need the motivation to shift your thinking to becoming that person. You don't need to think, oh, I'll be a writer when I finish this book. You need to think, I am a writer, therefore I will finish this book. What would a writer do? I read a great book on healthy men's health, men's mental health. And the book was called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And it had the simplest advice. If someone is saying something to you that's causing a reaction in you, Ask yourself, simple question, what would a healthy male do? When I wake up in the morning and I don't want to work out, and I acknowledge I set my alarm to work out, I've got my outfit out, but I do not want to work out. I simply ask myself a question. What would a runner do? That's who I'm trying to become, a fitness person over the age of 40, approaching 50, in the best health of my life. What does that person do? They get up and run. C, clarify the results you want. R, research what it takes to get them. A, always do those things. W, when in doubt, ask yourself, what would the person who does this do? And L, learn, adjust your strategy, and persist. Learn, adjust your strategy, and persist. Crawl. C, clarify the goals you want. R, research what it takes to get there. Lagging actions or leading actions. A, always do those things. W, when in doubt, do them anyway. Well, ask yourself, what would a person who does this do? They would just get up and do it. Why? Because that's what they do. I just get up and run. Why? Because that's what a runner does. They get up and run. I just write. Why? Because that's what I do. Writers write. I just paint. Why? That's what painters do. I just lead my businesses. Why? Because that's what an empire builder does. Me and Marissa strategize our real estate over the weekend. Why? Because that's what empire builders do. Not because we necessarily always feel integrated in that, but we have to begin to put that head on and think, no, if I'm an empire builder, this is what I must do. So I am an empire builder, so I want to do these things. Well, I don't really feel like it. You're literally wrestling with your old self. If you wake up and say, I don't feel like it today, you're not arguing, well, maybe my intuition is telling me no, or maybe this isn't what I want. No, it is what you want. You are literally at war with your old self, your out of shape self, your non-writer self, your non-business builder self, your employee-minded self, your self-doubter self. W, when in doubt, ask yourself what a healthy person does and do that. And L, learn, adjust, change your strategies, but persist. Step back up to the plate. You got to crawl before you run. So how does law of attraction work? Not by wanting, but by being. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So you have to change what you are. Become a beast. Go into beast mode. Change who you are. Ask yourself, what's the leading action, and then focus on that. The result will happen. If you just focus on the fruit, you got to picture, you got to visualize, you got to tantalize yourself with a vision for the end fruit. But if that's all you're picturing, you're not picturing and fantasizing the how. If you're not fantasizing the how, you're missing the boat. Dr. Joe Childs. Love it. I'm off to crawl today. Thanks, Dr. Joe, man. I appreciate you, man. And hey, we got to touch base about that interview that we need to do. And I want to interview you as well. So let me know when you're available, man. I appreciate you. Have a great Monday. And to the rest of you, why? Why do we touch on this day in and day out? What is Spark all about, and what are we doing? Why do I want you to be living your best? Why do I want you to be able to crawl? To clarify your goals, to research them, to always do them. When in doubt, to do what a healthy person would do, and to learn and just. Why would I want for you to nail the law of attraction? Because I think your goals are good. I think you want what's best in the world. I think you have a positive impact to make in other people. And hopefully with one of these frameworks, or any one of the many Spark frameworks we've laid out for you, I hope that you can get out there and ignite lives of explosive significance. But first and foremost, I hope you can start with your own. Have a great day.